The MoneroTopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
Yeah.
Breaking news: Barron Trump issues his first ordinal on the Monero blockchain.
Is Byron a Monero guy or a Zcash guy? That's what I want to know.
Oh, definitely, he's a Zcash guy. Please.
He's in with the in crowd. First piece of news today, we have the meritocrat who is Aaliyah. Aaliyah's been booted from X. I don't know exactly what happened. There's been a lot of these type of things seemingly going on with members of the Monero community getting booted from X for various unknown reasons. I think hers, they were saying she didn't pass the proof of human test essentially, which I kind of believe. I mean, Aaliyah's a little too good to be true. I'm not totally convinced that she's not some kind of benevolent AI that's helping Monero.
She is now on Nostr, so if you need to follow her, you can find her on the proper platform, which is Nostr.
Whatever she is or it is, Aaliyah is doing an amazing job in the Monero community, especially with regards to XMR Bazaar. Does a fantastic job, taking care of the platform, mediating the platform, dealing with all the drama on the platform. I don't know how she does it, and she has very good judgment, she's very principled, and applies those principles across the board as she makes her decisions on how we proceed forward on XMR Bazaar when issues do come up. But here she is. She's talking about, as I wrote in my article, Unlocking Success in Monero P2P Economy, The Power of Good Faith, which you can check out her blog. She's commenting on this guy, Monero Magu. She just wants to point out of how great of an XMR Bazaar user he is. And yeah, apparently he is. I've seen the name, but I never realized how much this guy has done. But now he's doing, from now on until November 15th, everybody who follows me gets one discount on any of my listings on XMR Bazaar. Just mentions this message when ordering. Yeah, he's, I think she has some of his stats here.
Monero Mega is a good seller. I've purchased from them before, and I've sold to them before, so.
Yeah, he has 172 successful trades and 151 5-star reviews. So, thank you to Monero Magu for being a power user of XMR Bazaar. All right, next news story we got here from the Monero account. Boog900 recently put forward a proposal to continue to work full-time on Monero development with focus on cup rate. So that's nice to see. Cup rate is a node implementation for Monero, so just always nice to see when there's just more development work that's being funded and happening on Monero.
And once cup rate is out, I intend to run it.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. Can you kind of give us? I don't know if you dare, but would you want to explain it a little bit?
Well, mind you, I'm not super knowledgeable on this, but what I can say is it's basically just Monero D. So your Monero D that you run for your node or your wallet or whatever, it's just another implementation of the Monero node software that has some improvements. So I'm going to be running it myself because it's faster at synchronizing and stuff like that because it's using Rust. So I'm going to be running it.
Yeah, and I assume the Nodo will take advantage of that as well. I'm not entirely sure.
I would assume it definitely could. You could have either or. You could have a choice to use Monero D or cup rate.
Next post from XMR Bazaar. This was just the official announcement we made when the site was down. After it came up, we wanted to update you on the recent XMRBazaar.com downtime. It looks like our growing popularity caused a sudden spike in traffic that overwhelmed our servers. A clear sign that word is spreading and more people are discovering what we're building. We've already taken action by migrating to a more robust setup with NID, I don't know how people pronounce this, NGI NX, complete with the rate limiting to better handle surges. We're also planning additional upgrades to ensure even smoother performance moving forward. Thanks for your understanding and continued support. Exciting times ahead as we keep improving and expanding. So, yeah, apologize for the site being down, but we've since fixed it and have become more robust in response. So, XMR Bazaar is not going anywhere, guys. The Rage tweeted new Trump pardons Binance founder. So this is big news this week. Binance founder got pardoned by Trump. Seems, like really blatantly corrupt. Like there was almost like a blatant payoff that happened between the Binance founder and Trump. I think investing like $2 billion into Trump coin or something.
That's what I heard. It was like into USD1 or whatever, his stable coin, and it was like $2 billion.
Yes, into his stable coin. Which, and then, weeks later got this pardon. Biden's war on crypto is over, the White House tells the Wall Street Journal, but non-custodial developers continue to fight for the freedom in the U.S. Justice Department. Yeah, so the White House's official response to this is when being asked, why did Trump pardon the Binance founder? And it was, because Trump wants to end Biden's war on crypto. Meanwhile, as we all know here, there are a lot of other, victims of Biden's war that have yet to be saved, ones that probably deserve it much more than the Binance founder.
Ian Freeman.
Ian Freeman, the Samurai Wallet guys, right? Tornado Cash. We did see Roger Ver. He was able to make a deal. Obviously, they're still taking their pound of flesh, but he is now a free man. So at least that happened. So yes, let's continue to hope that they're true to their word. But it's a little upsetting to see that Binance founder got the get out of jail free card before any of these other guys.
It should be unsurprising though. Like, this is exactly what the kind of prediction was, from guys like Tux and myself. Like, Trump is the crypto president. He's gonna, but we didn't believe it. We never believed it. We said, no, that's probably not how that's going to play out. We got the Ross pardon, right? That was the headliner to convince everybody. But is he actually going to pardon the guys that nobody else knows about except for the crypto people, right? No, he's not going to pardon the real guys that did real good things for the ecosystem. He's going to pardon CZ, a guy that was absolutely fraudulent. But I mean, let's be real. CZ is in on the take, right? CZ is one of their guys. CZ is like part of that entire cabal. He was friends with Mayor Bloomberg back in the day. Like, he comes from that cloth, and he's one of their guys. Binance was a means, they were a means of doing things like suppressing Monero on the back end, that they could pretend to set like as a deep state agenda, but they could separate that. Oh, it's just Binance acting independently. No. So it's like, it's just to be completely expected. That's all. Like, this is why we shouldn't trust guys like Trump, and we shouldn't trust politicians. They're just right, unless they're just unequipped, like Massey, or maybe Rand Paul. Like, maybe in those cases we could make an exception, but Trump never deserved that.
Yeah, but progress has been made in crypto, right? We knew what we were going to get with him. We knew he's a politician. We knew he's a freaking businessman first and foremost. He's for Trump way before anything else. But his interests happen to kind of align with crypto for whatever reason. And there's been some benefits from there. He did free Ross, right? Obviously, we're seeing a lot of the negative with him, letting Palantir into the White House. Like, on balance, are we winning here? Are we making progress from a crypto anarchist standpoint in the war against technocracy with Trump in versus Kamala? I don't know. There's arguments to be made either way. I know, like, Buddy, I think you would say you would have rather had Kamala or somebody who would be doubling down on being obvious about the war on crypto and whatnot, just so we can get to the end faster. But we have seen some positive things that have happened from the Trump admin. I mean, we can't deny that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag. I'd say Kamala would have been better, but only because, so people aren't gonna be getting attacked as much. In a corporate sense, the corporate crypto ecosystem is doing better than it's ever done before. But do people really care about Monero as much? Or are they really asking themselves, oh crap, how am I going to trade my crypto? How am I going to stay private? They're coming after everybody. They're attacking privacy. Like, now everything's okay. And everyone's like, oh, whatever. We don't have to fight anymore. Like, that's part of the point.
Yeah. I mean, we are seeing a privacy coin surge, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Undeniable. I mean, it's right, and it's under the Trump admin. I mean, I'm just saying, man. I don't know.
That's called happenstance. That has nothing like the privacy coin. The real privacy coin surge would have been everybody using Monero naturally, organically, and all of the small accounts, all of the people that you don't know, all of the non-influencers, like all of those guys getting into Monero. Everybody, like the people that just the average pleb, like, oh yeah, I'm in Monero. Like that is the real victory there. But now it's the privacy coin exclam trademark.
Do you? I mean, a little off topic, but do you think it's ultimately good for Monero, right? So if they go out there and they pump Zcash and they bring people into the privacy sphere, does Monero benefit from that? I think so. I don't see how it doesn't.
No, I don't. At best, it's neutral, but no, like,
okay.
Convincing people into a bad implementation of money. That's like that we should want a bad implementation of money to be the headliner so that we can get the trickle down. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. You can convert 2.67 Bitcoin into Monero on Wallet. No KYC ever. Completely Eigenwallet. Sorry,
Eigenwallet.
Like an eigenvalue, right? Completely
Exactly.
over to Tor. No counterparty risk. No mediators or arbitrators. Very excited. So is this like new news? I know this came from. They were previously. What was the previous name of their atomic swap implementation?
Unstoppable Swap, wasn't it?
Is it Unstoppable Swap? Right. So now they've integrated that into Eigenwallet. I know we've spoken about Eigenwallet in the past. Like they were working on. So like, are we like live and people are atomic swapping on there? Is that what's happening? Because that sounds very exciting. Like
that's badass.
Has anybody used Eigenwallet? Would love to hear more on this. And yeah, would love to do a show with those guys. We were supposed to do an in-person thing that didn't work out. So if they're listening, please let's make it happen. Jump up today. It's definitely worthy of a conversation.
Oh, we have an X Smart Chat from Merriam-Webster.
Okay, what do we got? Merriam-Webster tipped 33 cents. NGINX is pronounced Nginx. All right. Thank you, sir.
I wasn't to where dictionaries could talk. That's cool.
Yeah. They definitely can now.
Obviously, it's called Nginx or something else. Like, no, I'm kidding. It's Nginx.
Did I? Okay, hold up. Sorry, guys. Let me bring up the next story here. Bop, bop, boop. Okay. Oh wait, this came from another post. Oh no, what did I do? Zach BTC basically. Zach XBT put out a post criticizing Zashi Wallet. He looked into it, pointing out a potential privacy flaw when you're using it with near intents. Like I've said, I've used it. It is very slick. It's very nice. It has this decentralized exchange built into it, and you could seamlessly, go into some crypto, into Zcash. It's nice, but he's pointing out that there is some potential privacy flaw here with, I think, the way it would do a refund, and it would only refund to a transparent Zcash address, which could then lead into insights, into, I guess, how much, Zcash you have ultimately. So, yeah, definitely a flaw, but it looks like he then goes on to say they are fixing it. But yeah, so obviously Zashi is not perfect. It's interesting what they're doing, but yeah. Pointing that out, so they have work to do on that. Monero Research Lab chimed in on, I guess, the latest with the stress net. So I assume this came from the Monero one of the meetings this week. I think they do them every Wednesday, I believe. I usually do read through them. I missed the last one. I assume this came from that. Stress nets. So here we go. Stress net updates reported steady progress with version 1.3 release, fixing bugs and improving connectivity, requesting node operators update, and ramp up transaction volume after 24 hours, aiming for beta once stable under high stress. So they are running into some issues. So Justin Bierman gave the overall status report on StressNet. If it is progressing well, we've identified and fixed some full chain membership plus and Carrot integration bugs. In every release, we've identified and fixed Monero D issues in every release, and we made improvements both to existing Monero D/wallet code and to the integration in every release. Actually, all the integration bug fixes have been full chain membership proof plus integration related and not Carrot. Rucknium, any specific requests to StressNet node operators? Transaction volume has been low. Do you want to increase it again? Basically, he goes on to say, I think once we have no more observed integration bugs, maybe for a week, and we see smooth perf with 300 megabyte pool and 5 megabyte blocks, we can move toward beta StressNet. So it sounds like they've had some issues, but they've been dealing with them, and soon we'll be entering the beta StressNet phase coming up in the next week or so. So that's exciting. Everything is moving along in full chain membership proof land. Like I said, my fingers crossed would be for, I don't know, some big milestone reached by MoneroTopia. That would certainly make my day. Next story. This is me just posting. Monero is coming to Thorchain. This is a repost of the interview I did with JP of Thorchain. It was quite bullish. JP is a Thorchain, is a Monero bro. That was exciting to hear. He's full speed ahead with adding Monero to Thorchain, and before they do that, they're adding it to Voltisig, which is a really. I went into this interviewing not even knowing never even hearing about Voltisig. Apparently, it's another really big project that he's working on. It's kind of revolutionizes how people will hold their private keys. You won't even hold your private keys. Look into it. It's very cool. And so first, Monero is going to be added to Voltisig. And then that tech, the tech that comes from that development will allow them to then easily implement it into Thorchain. And all this is like on track to happen in Q1 2026. So obviously I will believe it when we see it, but certainly behind it and excited for it. So I'm a big fan of what they're doing and fully support the work on integrating Monero on Thorchain. Next story, Monero gets a mention. The Wired Guide to Protecting Yourself from Government Surveillance. So there's an article in Wired, a guide on how to protect yourself from government surveillance. It's kind of like in response to Donald Trump, arguably being a totalitarian here, and there's certain groups that are concerned about his actions, basically people that are politically opposed to him, right? So they're giving advice on basically tools you can use to prevent government surveillance. Donald Trump has vowed to deport millions and jail his enemies. To carry out his agenda, his administration will exploit America's digital surveillance machine. Here are steps you can take to evade it. So it talks about things like using Signal, encrypted communication, encrypted devices. So how best phones to use and how to use them. So you're taking advantage of the encryption abilities they have. Essentially, how best to use cloud storage if you use it, or ideally avoid it and don't even use it. And then they get into online anonymity, so things like using a VPN and using the Tor browser when you're interacting with the internet, so you can be anonymous online. They get into location data. So obviously not giving away your location when you're using your devices and apps and whatnot. And then they get into financial privacy. So financial surveillance is among the most powerful tracking tools in the government's arsenal. Definitely agree with that, right? We all know that here. Credit card payments or other transactions linked to your bank account are essentially transparent to any law enforcement agency that demands them. That follow the money form of surveillance also has a relatively simple analog defense: dollar bills. Forensic accounting is a thing, warns Holmes. So yeah, use cash. So basically their top recommendation, it's hard to disagree with this, is if you want to prevent financial surveillance, just use cash. But we know that's not always practical. It's becoming less and less practical, especially as they're trying to kill cash. So they go on to say, for those seeking more convenient or long-distance transactions, so they're not even bringing up the fact that cash is will be killed, but they're just talking about if, obviously you can't use cash if you're making a long-distance transaction or a transaction online. Payment apps like PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App may seem slightly more cash-like than a credit card or check, but in fact are just as vulnerable to law enforcement data requests as any bank. So warning people, don't use Venmo. It may feel like cash, but it's not. You're still in, being surveilled. Cryptocurrency may appear to be a tempting alternative, but despite the long-running mythical reputation of cryptocurrency as anonymous cash for the internet, Bitcoin and most other cryptocurrencies offer no real privacy. So here we go, guys. This is awesome, right? So putting out the word. Obviously, we all know it here, but in this article where they're teaching people what tools to use to avoid surveillance, they're saying Bitcoin is not one of those tools you should be using. You shouldn't be using Venmo. You shouldn't be using your bank account. What you should be using is cash, or given the ease of tracing Bitcoin transactions on its blockchain and the difficulty of buying or selling cryptocurrency from a cryptocurrency exchange that complies with U.S. Know Your Customers laws, so saying how traceable Bitcoin is, instead you should be using other cryptocurrencies like Monero and Zcash. They do offer privacy properties that make them vastly more difficult to trace than other cryptocurrencies, at least in theory. Mixer services like Ethereum-based Tornado Cash to promise to blend users' coins with those of others to complicate the task of following the money. So they're mentioning Monero, Zcash, and like Ethereum, Tornado Cash and Ethereum as being the tools you may want to consider using if you're trying to obfuscate your transaction history. If you don't want to be surveilled, either use cash or use digital cash. Still, given the ongoing advances in cryptocurrency tracing and the indelible evidence of any security slip-up that public blockchains make available to the cats in the cat and mouse game, it's safer to stick with cash whenever possible. So ultimately saying, actually, use cash. But, hard to disagree with that if you're really giving somebody some, advice and, they really need to be protected and... Yeah, cash will allow them to do what they need to do. Cash is definitely a great tool for that. But it is nice to see they are also mentioning Monero and Zcash, essentially digital cash, as the other thing people should be considering. And they're clearly pointing out that Bitcoin is not digital cash. And they didn't just mention Zcash, because if they did, we would have all been flipping out. They also mentioned Monero, thank God. And they mentioned it first. So Wired is still based. That is the news for today. I don't know if you guys have any comments on that.
There was one interesting thing. I don't know if you read Sam Bent's blog, but he was talking about an I2P, some I2P integrations that apps could take advantage of. So like Monero wallets or whatever could just build I2P right in, so that they don't even have to like worry about connecting or whatever. You just open the wallet and you're automatically connected to I2P, and you can use an I2P Monero node or whatever.